Hi Orangetheory family, Coach Rachel here. Welcome to day 3 of your at-home workouts. So today the focus is going to be on your back muscles as well as the large muscles in your lower body. So all those muscles that we use when we're on the rower. The first part of your workout, we're going to have a 6-minute warm-up. There's going to be 5 exercises which are all going to be aimed at improving your flexibility, ready for the workout ahead. Your first block is going to be a 10-minute block. What you need is a mat or a towel, just something to cushion yourself, and a couple of weights. You'll see on the video they use a suitcase for a couple of the exercises. So if you've got a small case, that's great. Otherwise, we do need a couple of other weights. So if you can find anything in your cupboards, tins of beans, a couple of cans of paint, anything like that, just to add a little bit of weight to those exercises. Block 2 is going to be your cardio block. It's going to be some jump squats. As normal, when you're in class, if you don't want to add that jump, that's absolutely fine. Take the power out of it. Just go into that squat and add that calf raise at the top of the move. Your final block is going to be that endurance core block. So we're really going to work on those abdominal exercises, which will improve both your posture and your balance. Team, if you can, give us a picture of whatever you've used as your weight. Could be your pet rabbit, who knows? But anything that you've used, just to give everyone else some inspiration if you haven't got any dumbbells or any kettlebells or any other weights at home. Anyway, team, keep exercising, keep smiling, have fun, share this workout with your family, with your friends, get everyone involved in the action. FaceTime yourselves, WhatsApp each other. Most of all, keep smiling, and we'll see you soon. Take care.
Let's get started with a dynamic warm-up. We're gonna go through 5 exercises. We'll demonstrate those for you, and then you can work through your 2 rounds. We're gonna start down on the ground, maybe lay out a towel or a blanket like we have here for a little bit of extra padding underneath your hands and knees. Shoulders are gonna stack directly over top of your wrists, hips are stacked directly over your knees, and go ahead and relax your feet so the tops of your shoes are facing towards the ground. From here, we're gonna start with a T-spine rotation. So keeping one hand planted firmly, core engaged just slightly, we're gonna bring fingertips to the ear, and then raise your elbow towards the ceiling, rotating through that thoracic spine, and then reaching that elbow back towards the floor. Go through this motion 5 times, again, focusing on rotating just through that upper half of your torso rather than rotating all the way through those hips. 10 total, 5 on each side. Staying in that same position, we're gonna go right into what's called a cat camel. So you are mimicking what those animals, I guess, look like, right? So we'll go ahead and start by arching through that back, making that hump by tucking your chin and then tucking those hips underneath. And then let's go back the opposite direction, crown of your head and tailbone to the ceiling, really mobilizing that spine, really warming up that torso for some of the work that we're gonna be doing later. 5 total here. And then we're gonna again stay in the same position, moving right into what we call the fire hydrant. This is really to help open up those hips. So we are going to draw a circle with our knee. External rotation would be to lift the knee to the outside first and then shoot that leg out behind you, then bringing your knee back underneath your hips. 5 that direction, and then you do wanna make it an internal rotation as well, just simply moving the opposite direction. 10 on one side, 10 on the other side. Now our next one is gonna be a dynamic runner's lunge. So we are gonna add an overhead side reach. In order to help with posture, maybe grab something that you have at home. We happen to have a ginormous spoon. So we're gonna have John hold that over top of his head. That way his shoulders are gonna stay in the right position, ears stacked over that shoulder, over that hip, and then his front foot is gonna come a little bit further than that 90-degree angle that you're used to seeing. This way he'll be able to make it dynamic by shifting forward, opening up through that hip flexor while he's leaning over to the side. And again, by holding on to whatever object it is, maybe it's a towel for you, you'll be able to make sure that you stay in alignment. 5 one direction, and then 5 on the opposite side. One more exercise, we're calling this the plank to an alternating ankle reach. Get into your high plank position, again, shoulders stacked directly over wrists, feet are shoulder width apart, tuck that core or those hips under to engage that core, and then lift through your hips, reaching your opposite hand towards that opposite ankle. You're simply gonna go as far as you can for your range of motion, moving back and forth for 10 total, 5 on each side. 2 full rounds, 5 exercises. Let's get that body primed for the work that you're about to do.
If I had my time again, I'd do something about it. John, are you ready to rock and row?
I'm gonna let that go. Let's do it.
All right, this block is going to be endurance focus in relation to the rower. So thinking about utilizing those muscles that we would normally utilize on the rower during maybe that 1,000 or 2,000 meter benchmark row. First up, it's 10 minutes long. We have 3 exercises that we're gonna perform 4 rounds of, 12 reps of everything. Once we're done with those 4 rounds, we'll move on to 2 exercises to work through until time is called. You ready to get this party started?
Let's do it.
All right, so our first exercise is going to be a front-loaded squat, so grabbing 2 objects that weigh roughly the same amount. In our standing set position, feet hip-width apart, thighs tight, belly button to spine, shoulders are down and back. 2 objects in front of our shoulders. From here, we're going down heavy in our heels, getting our quads parallel to the ground, driving straight up as we reset up at the top. Option, we can always limit that range of motion. After that, we're going right into some deadlifts. So in that same standing set position, this time the 2 objects are right in front of our hips. We're gonna hinge at our hips, keeping our back nice and flat, scraping those 2 objects along our legs, and as we reset up at the top, really working that posterior chain. Option, limit your range of motion. Next exercise is going to be a hip hinge high row. So in that hinged position, back nice and flat, palms are faced behind. We're gonna bend our elbows out nice and wide, pinching our shoulder blades together, slow and controlled as we lower down and reset. Okay, those 3 exercises for 4 rounds. Once those 4 rounds are complete, we're gonna perform these next 2 exercises until time is called. First up is a jump squat. In that standing set position, we're going down heavy in our heels, quads parallel to the ground, exploding those feet up off the ground just like you're exploding off the foot plates on the rower. After that, we are going right into a front-loaded lunge. Grabbing a heavier object right in front of our chest. In that standing set position, we're stepping forward, bending that knee about 90 degrees as we reset back up at the top, alternating for a total of 12 reps for the last 2 exercises. Let's get this party started. During the next 5 minutes, we're gonna focus on elevating our heart rate to strengthen our heart and to boost our mood. We're gonna focus on 40 seconds of work followed by 20 seconds of rest for a total of 5 rounds, equating to 5 minutes. All right, so what we're going to do is a broad jump to a shuffle. Our standing set position is going to be with our feet a little bit wider than hip width apart, standing up nice and tall with our shoulders down and back. From here, we're going to sink down heavy in our heels in a half squat, explosively jump our feet as far forward as we can, staying heavy in our heels, stepping 4 steps back as we shuffle and resetting at the top. 40 seconds of work, 20 seconds of rest, 5 total rounds. Let's have some fun.
If I had my time again, I'd do something about it. But it's too late, baby, and you're running on out the door. I never knew it'd come to this, never thought we clouded. But can you hold on, baby, just a little bit more? At the start, you were by my side and you were proud about it. When you looked into my eyes, I needed nothing more. I never knew it'd come to this, never thought we clouded.
focus on that core. This is an endurance focus with a little bit of a higher rep count. 4 total exercises for 2 full rounds. We're gonna start seated again on a towel, carpet, something soft so that we can pat ourselves underneath as we work through these exercises. And we've got a suitcase there. Ange, why don't you go ahead and grab that to add a little bit of a challenge. Holding that suitcase right at your chest, seated on the ground, feet are shoulder width apart, plant those heels nice and firm. We're gonna roll ourselves down to the ground and then drive those heels in and sit all the way back up. So this is a full sit-up with a little bit of an added challenge, having that weight glued to your chest. Doing this for 15 total reps. Of course, as an option, you're gonna come up just as high as you can, or you can always take that suitcase out of it. Our second exercise, actually, do you want to keep that challenge going? All right, let's do it. Let's keep it glued to our chest again, going right into a seated torso rotation. So leaning back just slightly, Angie's gonna keep that core nice and tight, holding onto that suitcase at her chest. Go ahead and start twisting to the side. There you go, rotating through that torso. Notice that our heels are staying nice and grounded, toes to the ceiling. Make sure we're breathing as we're going through that exercise. We've got 20 total here, 10 to each side. Again, your option, you can go ahead and set that suitcase down. We are done with those for right now. We're gonna get into our high plank position. So go ahead and get your shoulders stacked directly over top of those wrists. Feet are going to be about hip width apart. Actually, take them just a little bit wider, Ange, so we can work through stabilizing those hips as we work through our pull through. That's perfect. So using that object next to you looks like your makeup bag. You're ready to go. So we're gonna go ahead and use that to pull through underneath the body. So opposite hand reaches under, pulls through, sets it down, and then we switch to the other side. Notice how stable Ange's hips are. So we're not moving at all. Anti-rotation there is what we're focused on. As an option, you can always drop down to your knees if you need to. We're gonna work through, again, 20 total here, 10 to each side. Nice job. Our last exercise, you can actually go ahead and move your makeup bag to the side. We're laying all the way down, not taking a break just yet. Fingertips at your ears, elbows are gonna be out to the side. We're working through a back extension. So feet are still hip width apart, toes are grounded, and then as you raise your back towards the ceiling, you're gonna pause and then control it on the way back down. So again, we're tightening through the whole back side of that body, really, really stabilizing at the top, and then releasing ourselves back down to the ground. Your option here, you can always reduce that range of motion. We've got 15 total. Now it's your turn for 2 rounds.
We worked our sympathetic nervous system throughout the workout as we elevated our heart rate. Now it's time to upregulate our parasympathetic nervous system to bring our heart rate back down and to cool off our bodies. We have 4 stretches coming at you, 20 seconds on each side. Ready, Ange?
Ready.
All right, our first stretch is going to be Cobra. We're gonna lie face down on our comfy mat or towel, bringing our hands directly at the sides of our chest as we lift our chest up off the ground till our range of motion allows, really stretching out that core. 20 seconds holding here. From there, we're gonna go into child's pose, where we're gonna bring our big toes together, pull our knees out a little bit wider than hip width apart, let our torso sink between the knees as we extend our arms, relaxing our head. Holding this for 20 seconds, our third stretch is going to be an angled child's pose, where we shift our hands a little bit to the right, feeling that nice deep pull and stretch along our side, and then switching it to the other side for 20 seconds. Our fourth stretch is going to be our seated toe reach, sitting up nice and tall on our sit bones as our legs are extended, feet are flexed, and just keeping her back nice and flat as she extends her arms straight out in front of her, hinging at her hips until her range of motion allows, slowly lowering her hands down once she feels that stretch in her hamstrings and her calves. Let's start getting that body cooled down.